What's up, folks? 138 MMA here, and while I was breaking down my notes for the Holloway and Arnold Allen fight, I decided maybe with this amount of notes it deserves its own video. So we're going to go ahead and break down the Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen fight in its entirety, go through all the details, everything you need to know about this matchup, and I'll make a pick and a prediction at the end of the video. Now, real quick, you can find me on Twitter, 138MMA. You can find me on Tapology, same name. And last but not least, you can find me over on patreon.com/138MMA. That is what brings these videos to you. The subscribers over there on patreon.com/138MMA are the lifeblood of the channel, and I appreciate you dearly. Thank you so much, and let's go ahead and break down this fight right after this.
You wanted the picks? You got the picks. The hottest picks in the world.
A featherweight matchup here with some serious title implications on the line. Max Holloway, the always perennial #1 contender, just can't seem to get past the hump that is Alexander Volkanovski. Obviously, that 2-3 in his last 5, those 3 losses are all to Volkanovski, albeit some of them very close. The third one, not as much, but either way, Holloway is still up there at the top of the division. He beats pretty much all the prospects, including our current interim champion at 145 pounds, Yair Rodriguez, who is about to fight for the title, the main title, that is. If Holloway can put him away, yet still not get the title shot, well, it's because he's lost 3 times to the champion. So to get back to that is very, very difficult. He's going to have to prove himself one more time against a guy in Arnold Allen, who is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Hasn't really got the name recognition that you would like to see from a title contender, but that's because he has so many layoffs, because he'll get hurt. It's mostly injuries. It's pretty much all injuries, whether it's, the broken hand or whatever it may be. He's always got something that's keeping him from fighting frequently enough to be fresh in fans' minds, and that is the biggest thing that's prevented him with his 19-1 record and 9 or 10 wins in the UFC. That is the biggest thing that's prevented him from getting to that title shot sooner. But here is a chance. If he can get a win over Max Holloway, that title shot should be right around the corner. But let's break this one down. Okay, so for Max Holloway, we know he still got it. He looked great against Yair Rodriguez after Yair brought the steam to him early on in the matchup. Holloway showed some really good wrinkles in his game. But let's go ahead and break down what he has. I know we know a lot of what it is, but let's break it down further. He's a very high-level striker. We've seen this in many of his matchups. The fact that he has superb volume, he's able to set striking records that are often set by guys using ground and pound, just like those pepper-in shots, on the feet, which is incredible. Landing some serious striking volume in many of his matchups as of late, most notably the Calvin Kattar fight where he just tore that poor man apart. But Max Holloway, excellent volume, excellent lateral movement. So when he's throwing that volume, he's moving side to side, hitting you, making it hard for him to get hit, has the good head movement that goes along with it, and just working his jab constantly. He can do this from either stance. As you see, he will switch stance, work the body, work the volume, stick the jab all the way through it. So no matter where he's at in a fight, he can kind of make you work at the stance against the stance that you don't want to work against. He's always setting up his strikes with feints. He's constantly, faking a shot and throwing a shot. You never know which one's real and which one's not, and that's why he can get guys freezing, so he can hit him with that shot down the middle or come around the outside, whatever he's got to do. But he's always setting these shots up by making you freeze up with the feints. He does something that came about later, kind of into his career, because remember, Max Holloway came to the UFC when he was only 4-0. I believe he stepped in on short notice to fight Dustin Poirier. Lost that fight, but it was a pretty good fight. But he came in at only 4-0. When he made his debut, and as you see, 23-7, so that was a long time ago, because since then he's had, 26 fights? Pretty wild. So anyway, came in at 4-0, a lot of experience, most of which is in the UFC. But something that came about later in his career is his sidekick to the lead leg of his opponent. And what he likes to do, he'll throw that sidekick to the lead leg to keep guys at range, especially the longer, taller, lankier strikers. And then he'll chamber the knee. I know you probably can't see it, but he'll chamber the knee like he's going for that, and then instead of going for the side kick to the knee, come over with the hands after he's kicked that knee a few times with it. It's a very effective technique against taller, longer guys, and he's used it quite a bit to his success in the UFC since he added that to his repertoire. The problem he does have sometimes, and sometimes it's not a problem, but sometimes it can be, is that he's willing to get into a brawl. It's because he's insanely durable. We all know that Max Holloway has that legendary chin. He ain't getting dropped. He never has been, and he doesn't believe he ever will. At least it doesn't seem that way. The guy's willing to get into an exchange with just about anybody. He's got a power puncher on the other side in Arnold Allen, so there is something to be said there. But willing to get into a brawl. Typically, it works out fine for him. The only other drawback I see is that he just eats leg kicks. He doesn't check them often because instead of checking them, he eats them and counters back with his boxing combinations, which realistically is probably the best thing for him to do for his style. But the leg kicks are a path to victory for someone to take him out. So there's that. That's the striking of Max Holloway in a nutshell. We're not going to go too deep into it because, otherwise we'd be here for an hour. So let's talk about Arnold Allen real quick. We did a solid striking in his own right. The serious thing about Arnold Allen, we'll skip down to the KO power. This guy hits very, very hard. We've seen this recently in the Dan Hooker fight where he was able to flatten Dan Hooker with some serious power shots. Now, I understand Dan Hooker was dropping down to 145 pounds, probably should have been, but Arnold Allen hits very hard. It's just one of the things that's in his repertoire is just heavy hooks. Heavy hooks in particular, hooks and uppercuts. He's got those looping shots that come through with a lot of force. Now, he does have good counter striking as well. And in fact, he likes to sneak in there with his jab. I guess it'd be from the southpaw stance because he is a southpaw. He likes to sneak his jab in there to bait you in, to chase it in and come for a shot, and then hit you with his own strikes. Now, what he'll do is he'll throw the jab out there and then come to this high elbow guard. And from the high elbow guard, that's when he'll come back with the hooks. But he'll use that high elbow guard to kind of meet you in the middle and kind of offset you because there's something uncomfortable about coming into somebody's guard when it looks like this, when they've got that, that elbow up. Because you don't want to run into an elbow. I don't know if you guys have ever run into an elbow. It doesn't feel good. So Arnold Allen likes to use that as a way to set up his counter shots, and he does it pretty well. Now, something else he has is he also has excellent lateral movement, and it sets up a very heavy power shot of the 1-2. Because when he is in that southpaw stance, a lot of times you're fighting orthodox fighters because most people stand orthodox. So he's able to circle off of their lead leg pretty well because their lead legs are, matched up, and he usually has the better side-to-side movement. This matchup, that might be, we're going to find out. That's going to be close. So he's going to be circling off away from the other guy's power shot, stick the jab, drop the heavy shot as the opponent's trying to turn so they can get in there and land their own power shot. Because if you're aware, if you step outside of someone's lead foot, they have a hard time reaching you with their power hand. Arnold Allen's really good about, matching the front foot, stepping off to the side, and extending his power shot as you're trying to turn to deliver yours. So then what happens is he hits you long before you can hit him, but also with that power shot, and he's safe from getting hit because he knows that you can't reach him with anything other than your lead hand at an awkward angle. So for Arnold Allen, it's the excellent movement there. He has a couple other things that are really interesting. Is he'll like to frame guys' face. You see it a lot in in kind of karate, actually traditional karate, where you'll see the face frame like so. He doesn't do it as dramatic as the karate style face frame. A lot of self-defense style karate uses that face frame, but he'll use it to frame the face and come back with a heavy power shot, usually a hook, but just a power shot in general. Basically, Allen wants to just land these big power shots on you, and he's trying to do things that set you into a state where you're just set up to be hit and not counter-strike him. And it's hard to counter-strike a face frame as opposed to something that you're more used to seeing, like a jab or like a 1-2 or a hook or whatever. He uses these odd things like that and the trap into the lead hand where he'll kind of corral your lead hand and come in with a big shot. That's kind of what his style is for delivering these big, powerful hooks. And it works well for him. In addition to that, he likes to drop down to the body. So he'll come down to the body with a big uppercut off the rear side, so his left hand, especially against those orthodox standing fighters, because they're going to have their right foot in the back. Now, what happens then is he's got a wide open shot at your body. You can really crank into that uppercut. And when he does, then he'll start striking with the straight shots after he's got you kind of doubling over, working backwards. So power uppercuts to the body. He's got a lot of interesting styles. The cross to the head kick. He can also drop it down to the body, which sets up a lot of other difficult things for the orthodox fighters. Now, the thing that he's going to have to deal with here is that Max Holloway can fight from either stance. So some of these techniques can be negated by Holloway's ability to switch stance so easily. And a lot of Arnold Allen's game is best against orthodox fighters, but it does work. It works well against, southpaw fighters as well. He can do it either way. But the point is, the orthodox fighter is going to struggle a little bit more with Arnold Allen than somebody who can switch stance effortlessly like Max Holloway. Now, another thing that's interesting is when Arnold Allen smells blood in the water, kind of like a shark, he's going to come in there and go with a flurry to get the finish. Now, this could be good or bad, because if he gets the finish, great. But he's going against a guy in Max Holloway who is incredibly durable, and if he doesn't get the finish, that could spell danger for him down the road, because this is a 5-round matchup. And say he cracks Holloway, gets him backing up, he's up against the cage. Oh man, he's hurt. He looks like he's in bad shape, but he's absorbing shots to the body, getting those big heavy hooks to upstairs. But Holloway's got a heck of a chin, and Holloway survives, makes it through the round, doesn't get dropped, because we know he doesn't get dropped. He's just back against the cage, kind of doing his thing, absorbing what he can, and trying to fight his way out. Second round comes out, or third round comes out, depending on what round this happens in, maybe fourth, whatever. Arnold Allen's now tired because he's going for that finish as hard as he could, and that's what he likes to do, is get that finish. Yes, he's won decisions before. A lot of times those are 3-round fights, but, either way, the flurry to the finish is a good thing on here, but it could also be a bad thing in this matchup just because of the durability of a guy like Max Holloway. So anyway, striking for striking, it's really close, but over a 5-round fight, I think the longevity is going to be there for Holloway. Against most people, Arnold Allen's going to be able to put him out with his striking, or at least do enough damage that they're not going to, they're not going to be winning rounds because they're getting dropped a lot. But like I said, Holloway's just so durable. It's very hard to do. Nobody can drop this guy, including our current champion, Alex Volkanovski, who, beat him 3 times, couldn't drop him. So let's put it that way. Max Holloway has the advantage long-term in the striking. So I think as the fight goes on, his striking's going to get better. Now, let's break down some of the other stuff. The intangibles, the grappling. I don't think there's going to be a lot of time on the mat in this matchup, but there may be some, and let's break it down. So Holloway does have a slick foot sweep, so he'll throw a big heavy shot in there, and then he'll kind of bump you and get his leg behind yours. It's hard to show it here, I don't got a lot of room. But anyway, he's got a good foot sweep that he can use to take guys down when he needs to, and just drop right on top, start throwing that ground and pound. He can shoot traditional wrestling-style takedowns. He doesn't do it a ton. He did mix it in the Yair Rodriguez fight. It was something that we saw him kind of do as Yair was getting a little wild with them kicks, and starting to land some big stuff on Holloway. Holloway made the adjustment, went for the wrestling. Smart move on Holloway. Showed that veteran savvy, but he also has very good takedown defense. Now, for a guy that has been taken down in the past, he did get a lot of kind of flack early on for his lack of takedown defense, but it just happened to be kind of the way it was as his career has. Some of the earlier fights in his career, as his career has progressed, he's gotten much better. I believe it's over an 80% takedown defense. I don't know the exact number, but it's pretty good, and especially because he works the underhooks. He has a couple of guillotines on his record as well. He does have those long, skinny forearms. Although he has a short reach for how tall he is, he still has long, thin arms. So I don't know how that works out. He's got like a 5'9" reach, and he's like 5'11", so I'm not really sure how that works. But either way, he can slip those arms right under your chin, works the guillotine. He has a couple of wins that way. It's a backup option if the underhooks aren't working. He can slip to the guillotine to try and stop the takedown there. But the biggest factor for Max Holloway in most of his fights is that you're never going to tire the guy out, and you're never going to be able to hurt him because he's so gosh darn durable. Top-tier cardio, top-tier durability, mixed with his superb volume. These are, let's go ahead and make these his spots here. Let's go like that. That is what I would say. That's a horrible star. Either way, that's what I would say Max Holloway's best assets are in a matchup against Arnold Allen. Now we look at Arnold Allen's, takedowns and intangibles, things like that. He has good takedowns against the cage. He likes to, get up on there, do a kind of a body lock almost, and then slip the legs out from under you, drop you to the mat. Very good there. He also has solid takedown defense of his own, which is why I don't really think this is going to end up on the mat. I do think both guys have good enough takedown defense to stop whatever the other guy is bringing to the table. But if it does get to the ground, he does have a solid set of grappling tools, solid toolbox, if you will. But he's very much position over submission. A lot of times he'll get those submissions. Don't get me wrong. He's had some straight arm locks. He's got some Darce chokes, things like that. He's mixed in some different submissions. But the thing is, he's looking for the control and position, working the ground and pound. He's using that more so than he is looking for his submissions. But he has them in his toolbox if he needs them. So submissions are there. Control's good. Does have good submission defense. So, neither guy's going to be really going for a lot of those in this matchup, but it's there. But he also works back to his feet when he is on the mat. Now, the problem for Arnold Allen is the thing that's been keeping him out of fights. I don't know if he's fragile or he's just a victim of circumstance, but the guy always seems to be hurt. And over the course of a 5-round fight, is that going to play a role? Is he going to break that hand again? What's going to happen to Arnold Allen? We don't really know because he's always injured. And that's the thing, like I said, that has stopped him from getting to the title picture before. So for me, this matchup is a very close matchup. I look at the two. What do I think is the best thing for Arnold Allen? Well, his KO power, which might not be good here, but his KO power, his ability to work the body. I'm going to use that. And then lastly, I'm gonna say it's his ability to go for the takedowns against the cage. I'm gonna say those three are his biggest paths to victory here. Be able to get up against the cage, work the takedowns there, make Max take Max out of his volume striking game and win rounds for Arnold Allen. That should be the key, especially early on in the fight, when he's able to slow down on Max Holloway, or maybe after round 1 where the striking is no longer just landing power shots and he needs to win rounds against a guy who's trying to hit him with a ton of volume. That's going to be the path to victory for Arnold Allen. Now, this is a very close fight for a reason. Do I think Arnold Allen's going to get the finish? No. But if anybody is going to knock out Max Holloway, it's probably going to be Arnold Allen. The guy hits very hard. Like I said, I think over the course of 5 rounds, it's very hard to pick against Max Holloway. So for me, my pick is going to be Max Holloway. And like I said, close fight. I'm not going to bet this fight. What I'm going to do, this is a fight where I'm going to kick my feet up on the coffee table. I'm going to crack open a couple of cold root beers, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy. Because this matchup here is really going to tell us what's going on in the featherweight division. Is Max Holloway just going to stake his claim and say, I am the best featherweight in the entire UFC outside of the champion, and I'm just going to keep beating these guys until they give me another title shot? Or are we going to see a serious contender emerge in Arnold Allen, who's staking his claim, say, hey, Volkanovski, before you go back up to 155 pounds and try to fight Islam again, you're going to have to go through me because I just beat Max Holloway and maybe I finished him, whereas you couldn't do in all 3 of your fights. So for Arnold Allen, the stakes are high. Good chance for him to get into the title picture with a win here. Like I said, I lean slightly on the Holloway side, but it's a tough fight. Let me know who you guys have. If you're playing the dog in Arnold Allen, I don't blame you a bit. I do like Arnold Allen a lot. I think he's a talented fighter, and I think he has all the skills to make it to the top of the division. The biggest thing is that fragility. He's fragile. He gets hurt. He has to take long layoffs. It's the thing that hurts him the most. If only he could stay more active, I do think that he would already have been in that title picture. So that's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think. Like this video. I appreciate it very much. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It'll help you find my videos. And it helps me reach that 1,000 mark, which I'm trying very hard to do so. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next video.